They say small towns are safe, quiet, ordinary. But quiet places have a way of hiding things. Sometimes silence isn't peace, it's a warning. Tonight's story comes from a man who claims he witnessed something the government erased from the map. He says his entire town, every person, every building, vanished in one night. The only evidence left behind was a message. A message that appeared on every screen, every phone, every radio. We are sorry. This is his account of what really happened in Dover Hill. Listen carefully. Because if you ever see that message yourself, it might already be too late. It started like any other quiet night in Dover Hill, the kind of town where nothing ever happens. I was stretched out on my couch, half watching some reality show I didn't care about, lazily scrolling through my phone, trying to decide whether to cook dinner or just eat another bowl of dry cereal. Outside, the streetlights cast that same pale yellow glow over the empty road. The occasional car passed by its tires, humming softly against the pavement. Everything was still the kind of quiet you only get in a small town long after everyone's gone to bed. I remember glancing at the clock. It was 9:17 p.m. And then my phone buzzed violently in my hand. At first, I thought it was just a spam alert or one of those amber notifications. But when I looked at the screen, my stomach tightened. The message said, "Emergency alert. We are sorry." That was it. No explanation, no instructions, nothing else. Just those 3 words, "We are sorry." The television flickered, cutting mid-scene. Then across every channel, the same red warning banner appeared, "We are sorry." Even my old radio, which I didn't remember leaving, plugged in, crackled to life, with the same robotic voice, repeating it over and over again. "We are sorry." The words made my skin crawl. Sorry for what I texted my friend Ryan, who lived across town. "Did you get that message?" He replied instantly. "Yeah, what the hell is it?" Probably a glitch, right? But it didn't feel like a glitch. Something about it was too coordinated. Every screen, every device, all broadcasting the same phrase. I looked out my window, expecting to see people stepping out onto their porches, maybe looking confused like me. But the street was empty. No one outside, no movement. It was as if the entire neighborhood was holding its breath. The clock ticked to 9:24 p.m. Another alert appeared. "Stay inside. We are sorry." I froze. The letters burned into the screen. That's when I heard it, a deep, distant rumble. At first, I thought it was thunder, but there were no clouds outside. Then I realized it sounded mechanical, like engines. I pushed the curtain aside and peeked out. 2 black helicopters swept low over the rooftops, their spotlights slicing through the night. They weren't police choppers. They had no markings, no visible numbers or insignia. As the beams of light passed over the houses, I noticed something else. There were vehicles moving along the main road, large armored ones, rolling in silence, no headlights on, like a convoy of shadows. Then, one by one, the streetlights went out. First, the one across the road, then the one by my driveway, then mine. The entire neighborhood went pitch black. A few seconds later, the power in my house cut off. The hum of the refrigerator, the faint buzz of the TV, all gone. My phone buzzed again. Ryan texted Powers out here too. "Bro, what's happening?" Before I could respond, I saw movement outside. Figures, dozens of them. Soldiers in full tactical gear, gas masks gleaming faintly in the helicopter light. They weren't storming houses. They were knocking. Polite, almost gentle knocks. But the people who opened the door didn't come back out. Across the street, old Mr. Dawson opened his door. I could barely see, but I watched as two soldiers stepped inside. He looked confused, then scared, and then he just disappeared into the dark. Something about their movements made my stomach twist, too synchronized, too silent. Then came a sound I'll never forget. A deep vibration in the ground, like something enormous, shifting far beneath the surface. It made the window glass tremble, and then a roar, not human, not animal, something primal and wrong. It echoed through the entire town, shaking the air itself. Gunfire erupted somewhere far away, sharp metallic pops, followed by another roar, louder this time. The helicopters turned sharply and vanished behind the hills, their spotlights cutting out. Ryan texted again. They're outside my street. Soldiers, they're freaking out. Then another message. Something's wrong with them. They're running. I grabbed my backpack flashlight and the kitchen knife, not because I thought it would help, but because I needed something to hold. Ryan sent one last message: gas station. Meet me there. The streets were chaos. People were running barefoot, some still in pajamas, screaming into the darkness. Every few seconds, I'd hear another gunshot or explosion. By the time I reached the corner, I saw what had happened. Cars crumpled like tin foil. Trees snapped in half. The road cracked open. Bodies, soldiers, and civilians were scattered across the asphalt. No blood, not really. Just crushed, flattened. Something impossibly heavy had moved through here. I didn't stop. I just kept going. By the time I reached the gas station, the place was half collapsed, its roof sagging inward, the air thick with gasoline and smoke. "Ryan," I shouted. No answer. Then a faint voice from behind the counter. Here he was, crouched there, shaking eyes wide. "Jesus, man," I whispered. "What the hell is going on?" He didn't answer. He just pointed toward the window. I followed his gaze and felt my heart seize. Something enormous was moving between the buildings outside, too fast, too smooth. When the flare light flickered across its body, I got only glimpses: scales, fur muscle, and something that looked almost human skin, stretched and stitched together. Its head turned once, and I saw it a face made of faces overlapping, twitching each with eyes that opened and closed out of sync. Then it screamed. Not like a roar this time, but a shriek, as if metal was being torn apart. The sound rattled every bone in my body. Gunfire exploded from the street. Dozens of soldiers firing everything they had: rifles, grenades, rockets. The explosions painted the night orange and red. But the thing didn't fall. It learned. Each hit only made it faster. Ryan grabbed my arm. "We need to go. Now." But there was nowhere to go. The creature was between us and the street. We huddled behind the counter as the ground shook. Each step it took made dust rain from the ceiling. Ryan was trembling uncontrollably. "Don't move," he whispered. I nodded, holding my breath. Through the shattered window, I could see its silhouette, massive, towering over the gas pumps. Its limbs bent the wrong way, moving in jerks that made my skin crawl. Then it stopped. For a moment, everything was still. And then it turned straight toward us. The front of the station imploded as its claws tore through the wall. Ryan screamed. He ran. "Ryan, no!" I shouted, but he was gone, sprinting into the street. The creature lunged after him, and the sound that followed, I can still hear it when I close my eyes. I didn't look. I couldn't. I just ran the other way. I don't remember how long I ran. When I stopped, I was in the industrial part of town near the old mill. Smoke covered the sky. and everything glowed red from the flares overhead. That's when I saw them soldiers building a barricade. Truck sandbags, mounted guns. Dozens of them, shouting orders, faces pale and shaking. I stumbled toward them, wearing a soldier's vest I'd grabbed from a fallen body. "Stop right there," one of them yelled, aiming his rifle. "I'm with ground unit near Lincoln Avenue." I lied. Got separated when it hit us. The man stared, eyes hollow. "Where's your ID?" I lost it, I stammered. It threw me when it hit the truck. Before he could respond, the ground rumbled again. His radio crackled. "It's moving toward the checkpoint. All units prepare to engage." The older soldier looked at me, then shouted, "Get in the truck." Now I climbed into the back of a transport truck, wedged between a handful of other soldiers who looked just as terrified as I felt. No one spoke. We just listened to the radio static, to the distant thunder of gunfire, to the sound of something colossal moving in the dark. The truck jerked forward, tires screeching. Through the back window, I saw the skyline, my town on fire. Buildings collapsing, helicopters dropping missiles one after another. And through the smoke, it appeared again, the creature crawling, twisting its body, still shifting and changing under the flames. Gunfire erupted, the air filled with screams and static. Then the radio cut through the chaos. "We regret to inform you, containment has failed. If you are still in the area, may God help you." Every soldier went silent. Then one whispered almost to himself, "They're gonna nuke it." A blinding white light filled the sky. The world went silent. Then came the shock wave. The truck lifted off the ground and slammed back down. My ears rang until I couldn't even hear my own breath. When the light faded, the town was gone. Nothing but smoke dust and a rising column of fire reaching into the clouds. We kept driving until the dawn bled through the smoke. No one said a word. One by one, the soldiers began to sob quietly. Not loud, not dramatic, just the kind of broken crying you hear from people who have seen too much. I don't remember when the truck stopped. At some point, I just got out and started walking. Hours later, I found myself on the highway alone. Cars abandoned on both sides, their doors hanging open as if everyone had just vanished. Days passed before I found any sign of civilization again. When I did, I saw the news playing on a diner TV. Gas explosion levels, Dover Hill. Over 300 presumed dead. No mention of soldiers. No mention of the creature. Just a gas explosion. The footage showed nothing but rubble and smoke until the camera panned across a shadow in the mist. It was only for a second, but I saw it. A shape too large to be human. Eyes that glowed faintly red, and then vanished into the haze. That night I checked my phone. There were no messages, no alerts, nothing. The screen was blank, but at exactly 9:17 p.m., it buzzed once. A single notification appeared. No app, no sender, just 3 words. "We are sorry." The official reports called it a gas explosion, but the man who told this story swears he saw something else, something alive, something that shouldn't exist. And maybe he's right, because even now, strange signals still appear across abandoned frequencies, short bursts of static, followed by 3 familiar words. "We are sorry." If you ever hear them, turn off your phone, turn off everything, and pray they're not sorry for you next.